Howdy, 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 kids. This is Mr. Dawkin, and today we're going to talk about matter and change. This is going to be Unit 4 of this course. We're going to talk about what matter is and the changes that matter can undergo. So we have a little kid here, and he's thinking, what's the matter? The difference between matter and mass. Matter is defined as anything that has mass and takes up space. So there is a mass associated with this, so it's going to have some sort of mass and probably going to be in grams in this class, and takes up space. That means it's got a volume. We could say milliliters, or perhaps we can say centimeters cubed. Mass is the amount of matter an object contains. So mass has only to do with mass. It does not have a component of volume. So matter has to do with density. Mass is not pertaining exactly to density. A substance is matter that has uniform and definite composition. So anything that's a pure substance is going to look the same. It is going to have the same properties throughout. Pure substances contain only one kind of matter. For example, Cr, that's chromium. That is an element on the periodic table. It would be pure if we only had chromium. NaCl, we have two elements here that are combined. We call this a compound. When we have two elements that are combined, and if we only had this compound, this would also be a pure substance. This is table salt. So if I have table salt only, it is considered a pure substance. There are 3 states of matter that we cover. Some say there's 4 or 5 states of matter, and you'll see one in the video later. But the first one is solid, next we have liquid, and the third we have gas. So I may provide an example of each for you. Solid, some of you are sitting at a desk right now. And a liquid, most of us would probably say water. And a gas, some of you may say that we breathe in oxygen. Some of you may say nitrogen, there's nitrogen in the air. Carbon dioxide, we breathe out gas. We also want to know what the molecules and the atoms are doing way down if we zoomed in. So if we zoom in on those 3 different states of matter, or 3 different phases of matter, what we'll find is that the solids have particles that are very close together. Liquids have particles that have a little bit of space between them, and they can slide past each other. And gases, they have a lot of space in between them, and the particles are moving really, really fast. A physical property is a quality or a condition of a substance that can be observed or measured without changing the substance's composition. So a property that's physical has nothing to do with its chemical composition, but more of things that we can observe qualitatively. Things like color, size, hardness, density, shape, odor, which is smell, melting point, boiling point, and you could also have freezing point and condensing point with these as well. These are all physical properties. Generally things that we see with our eyes, hear with our ears, smell with our noses, the 5 senses. Smell, color, and perhaps taste. Okay, what if we change something using its physical properties? This would not be considered a chemical change, but a physical change, a change in matter without changing what the substance is made of, or the chemical composition. Examples would be boiling, cutting, melting, splitting, cracking, condensing, freezing, bending, breaking, grinding, crushing. If I do any of these things to a substance, it will not change what the substance is made of. If I take a piece of paper and I cut it in half, well, it's still going to be a piece of paper. If I break it or crush it, well, it's still paper. Things like melting ice cream, crushing a can. The top is still ice cream, and the bottom still a can. A chemical change is one or more substances changing into a brand new substance. So this is when we actually change the substance itself. And we can tell with a few different signals or signs. The first one is if a bubble is produced, then perhaps it's a chemical change. Now I want you to write in here, this does not include boiling. Not boiling. Boiling is a physical change. The next one would be change in temperature. If heat is released or heat is absorbed, perhaps it's a chemical change. If something goes through a color change, we may have a chemical change. Change in smell. You might think that there are others, and you might be right. Things like rusting or corroding. Lots of different examples. So we may see fireworks, and there's lots of heat released there. And there's also light. Light is also produced there. Changing color of leaves. They're decomposing. They're dying. They're changing colors. There's a chemical change. We have a clear liquid being dropped into another clear liquid, and what's produced is a yellow solid. So not only is there a color change, we produce something called a precipitate, which is a solid when you mix two liquids. Rusting nails, or rusting a bicycle. Maybe you've seen that growing up. Combustion or fire, burning, is a sign of a chemical change.